Hello, I'm Kyle Bradshaw from Cruiser Customizing, where fulfilling your passion is our mission. Today I'm going to take you on a step-by-step walkthrough of how to change the oil on a Harley Davidson. Now, why would you want to change oil in your own garage at home? Several key reasons. Number one, cost savings. For roughly $25 on the low end, you can change your own motorcycle oil. Now give any local shop a call and you'll find that the price for them to change your oil is quite significant. In addition to price, what are some of the other reasons that you'd want to change your own oil at home? Time is a huge one. Scheduling a time with the dealership to take your bike down, drop it off, get a ride back, pick your bike back up, and then if it's not done when you get there, you're waiting around for them to finish the bike so you can then leave. Time is a huge factor. My favorite reason for changing my oil at home, other than the monetary factor, is the fact that I actually get to look at what comes out of the motorcycle. Does it have metal flakes in it? How does it smell? How black and dirty is it? Should I have changed it earlier? These are all things that you can tell when you look at the oil that comes out of your machine. That $25 price range comes from a standard oil filter from either Big Bike Parts or MGO, and then a standard mineral-based oil. One of my personal favorite mineral-based oils is the Legend 4T from Motorex. Motorex has been known for years and years to be one of the leaders in synthetic motor oil technology. But just this last couple years, they really developed this 4T that allows you to have a mineral-based option specially formulated for V-twin motors. Also here on the table, I have a less expensive synthetic from Castrol, and then of course, you've got AMSOIL. Now when looking at oil filters, you've got a couple options as well. You can go black, you can go chrome. If you go K&N, you're going to have a 17mm nut on the top that's going to allow super simple removal of the oil filter. If your motorcycle isn't currently equipped with a K&N, you might want to invest in an oil filter wrench. 50% of the time you can spin your stock filter off with just your hands, but sometimes it can be a bear. Today we're going to be installing this PC Racing reusable filter. On the inside of this aluminum housing is a stainless steel reusable filter. What's going to happen is you're going to take this thing apart, spray it out with parts cleaner, blow from the inside out. When you originally look at the $120 price point or so for this filter, you think, wow, that's an expensive filter. But when you think about it, roughly $15 for the K&N filter every single time you change your oil, it pays for itself in roughly 5 oil changes. In addition to it being a filter, as you can see, the fins here on the aluminum actually act as an oil cooler. A great option from PC Racing. We're going to show you how that installs today as well. Now before you attempt this project in your garage, there's a couple tools that you need to have in place. A drain pan. A funnel is always a great idea. If you don't have a funnel, you can always take a bottle such as this, cut the bottom off. When it comes to tools, you only need a couple usually. If you're riding metric and have a drain bolt on the bottom of your motorcycle, you're going to need to have that proper. It's usually a 17mm. In the case of this Harley Davidson, we're going to need a 1/4-inch socket or a screwdriver to remove the hose clamp that keeps the oil line capped. A roll of paper towels to clean up any messes you might make. A pair of gloves. Oil, if on your skin for a long period of time, is known to cause cancer. So if you use a pair of gloves, you can eliminate that risk as well. Alright, enough talk about oil and tools. Now let's get to the nuts and bolts and get the oil in this machine changed. So the first thing I always start with is removing the oil filter cap. That allows the system to breathe as you're doing the oil change. On the other side of the motorcycle, there's a matching piece that looks just like this on the other side, but it is an oil tank. The oil tank needs to drain out, and this is the hose that will allow us to do it. What you're going to do is you're going to remove the line here. As you can see, there's a hose clamp. Now to remove this hose, you can use either a socket or a flat blade screwdriver. I prefer to use the socket as it makes life just a little bit easier. Now you're going to want to make sure that the motorcycle's engine is warm so that this oil drains more freely. Now I could wait until the tank back here is completely done draining, recap it, and secure it into place. But I'm going to allow that to continue to drain, throw a second drain pan up here underneath my oil filter. I'm now going to oil filter off or use a tool. In this case, the oil filter is spinning off fairly freely. This oil is now going to run down the front of the motor and into my drain pan. Now with any of these throwaway filters, you really can't see what's going on inside this filter unless you have a filter cutaway tool. It's a tool that sits on the filter, cuts it around so you can separate this and take a look at the media on the inside, which will give you an indication of how healthy your motor currently is. That's one of the benefits and advantages of that PC racing filter I just showed you. You always know what your motor's doing or what the oil looks like. How clean is it? Are there metal flakes? Always good indications of how healthy your motor is. As you would with any regular oil filter change, we're now going to put some oil into the top of this PC racing filter. And we're going to make sure that this seal here is coated so that it gets a good seal against the motor. Now with any oil filter change, you're not going to want to tighten this. I was simply using the wrench because the surface was slippery with my oily gloves. It's now time to button up our oil line and fill the tank with oil. Now that we've got the oil topped off for the initial inspection, we're going to fire it up, let the oil run through the oil filter, through the motor, double check and make sure we don't have any leaks, and then after that's done, the engine's warm, we'll go ahead and check the overall oil level to make sure it's still correct. Now that we let the bike run for about 5 minutes and then let settle for another minute or two, we're going to go ahead and take an oil reading to make sure that our oil level has remained consistent. If it was all the way down here at the bottom, we'd have to put an extra cord in. But let's go ahead and take a look and see where we sit. As you can see, we're really close to the top here, so we'll probably put like a 1/16 or so of a cord in that'll top us off to the top. And we've effectively just done an oil change on this motorcycle that could save us at least $100 at the dealership. That wasn't so bad, was it? Changing your own motorcycle oil can save you time, money, and you'll know exactly what your motorcycle motor is doing. Thank you for watching this week's Cruiser Customizing Tip of the Week. Until next week, take care and ride safe. If you've got questions about motorcycle oil change, give our specialist a call at 1-888-857-5417. Be sure to take a look at our loyalty program found on cruisercustomizing.com.